You are not supposed to be here. The ticket cost you everything. £7, 10 shillings, 3 months of wages from a textile mill in Belfast where you breathed cotton dust 12 hours a day and dreamed about America, about starting over, about becoming someone your father never got the chance to be. You are 24 years old. You have a canvas bomb, a photograph of your mother and a ticket stamped third class, RMS Titanic, Southampton to New York. The ship is so large that when you first see it at the dock, your brain refuses to believe it's real. You stand there with 200 other third-class passengers, Irish farmers, Polish laborers, Swedish families, all of you staring up at something the size of a city block floating on water. This is April 10th, 1912. You have 5 days until New York. You have no idea you have 5 days until the ocean swallows you whole. Third class is below the waterline. You don't know that yet. You notice the smell first. Coal, salt water, hundreds of bodies in close quarters. But you don't care. You have a bunk. A real bunk with a pillow. The food comes 3 times a day, and it's more than you've eaten in months. Your cabin holds 6 men. There's Padraig from Cork, who's going to his brother in Boston. Mikael from Stockholm, who barely speaks English but laughs at everything. And Thomas, 19 years old, from Queenstown, who tells you on the first night that he's never slept on a mattress before. You spend the first 4 days in a kind of euphoria. The ship doesn't feel like it's moving. The ocean is impossibly calm. At night, you go up to the third-class deck and look at a sky so full of stars you feel dizzy looking at it. Padraig tells you that in America, a man can become whatever he wants if he works hard enough. You believe him, you have to believe him. You have nothing else. On Sunday evening, April 14th, you eat dinner in the third-class mess hall. Roast beef, potatoes, bread, the best meal you've had in years. Mikael makes a toast in Swedish that none of you understand, and all of you drink anyway. You go to bed at 10 p.m. At 11:40 p.m., the iceberg hits. You feel it before you hear it. A tremor in the steel frame of the bunk. A low grinding sound that doesn't belong to the engine rhythm you've memorized over 4 days. It lasts about 10 seconds and then stops. Nothing. Silence. Thomas sits up. What was that? Nothing, you say. Go back to sleep. You believe that. You genuinely believe that. The ship is unsinkable. Everyone says so. You've heard it since Southampton. It's the only ship in the world built to survive anything. You go back to sleep. 20 minutes pass. Then Padraig comes back from the corridor. His face is wrong. There's water, he says. On E-deck. The floors are wet. You don't move for a moment. Then something cold and animal wakes up in your chest. Not panic, not yet. Just the oldest instinct a human being has. Something is wrong. Get up. You get dressed in the dark. All of you do without saying a word. The corridor is crowded and confused. People carry luggage. Some of them carry luggage, which later you will understand was the strangest thing you've ever seen. A woman is crying. A man is arguing with a steward in a language you don't speak. You move toward the stairs. There is a gate, a locked iron gate with a White Star Line crew member standing in front of it. He tells you to go back to your cabins. He tells you there is nothing to worry about. He tells you the officers are assessing the situation. You look through the gate at the staircase going up, and your entire body understands something your mind won't say out loud. We need to go up, you tell him. Go back to your cabin, sir. Behind you, the corridor is filling with water around your ankles. It's cold, so cold it almost burns. Thomas grabs your arm. Mikael is saying something in Swedish, fast and urgent. Padraig is very still, staring at the gate. Up on the first-class decks, 200 feet above you, passengers in evening wear are being loaded into lifeboats. You don't know that. You're standing in cold water behind a locked gate, and the man with the key is telling you everything is fine. This is the moment the Titanic stops being a ship and becomes a class system with a hull. First-class survival rate tonight, 62%. Second class, 41%. Third class, 25%. You are in third class. The crew member leaves. You never find out why. Maybe he's called away. Maybe he finally understands what's happening. Maybe he just decides to save himself. The gate is still locked, but the crowd behind it has grown to 30 people, and someone finds a fire axe. The gate comes open. You run. Up the stairs, 1 deck, 2 decks, 3 decks, the ship tilting slightly now. So slightly you almost think you're imagining it, but your body knows. Your body knows, and you keep running, pulling Thomas by the arm, screaming at Mikhail and Padraig to follow. You burst onto the boat deck at 1:15 a.m. The cold hits you like a wall, -2 degrees, stars everywhere, and the ocean, impossibly, horribly, is closer than it should be. The bow is going down. Slowly, steadily, silently, the Titanic is going down. The lifeboats. You look for the lifeboats. Half of them are already gone. The ones that remain are chaos. Women and children first. Officers with pistols. People screaming in 5 languages. The band playing Nearer My God to Thee, which you will hear in your nightmares for the rest of your life, however long that turns out to be. You find a boat. There is 1 space left. 1. Padraig looks at you. He is 31 years old. His brother is in Boston. He has a wife back in Cork he married last year, and she is pregnant, and she is at home right now, asleep, dreaming about him coming back. Go, he says. Go. You don't take the space. You can't. You look at Padraig, and you can't. You find a collapsible lifeboat canvas at the stern, and you help 6 strangers try to inflate it, and you fail, and you try again. And at 2:17 a.m., the Titanic breaks in 2 with a sound like God dropping something made of iron, and the stern rises straight up into the sky like a monument to every wrong decision made that night. And then it falls. The water hits you at 28 degrees Fahrenheit. You have read since that this is survivable for approximately 15 minutes before your heart stops. You don't know that in this moment. In this moment, you only know cold. Every nerve in your body is screaming. The water is so cold it doesn't feel like water. It feels like electricity, like dying. And you grab the capsized collapsible boat and you hold on and you breathe and you breathe and you breathe. Around you, 1,500 people are in the water. You can hear them. You will always hear them. Within minutes, the screaming starts to fade. Not because people are being rescued, because 28-degree water is doing what it does. You hold on. The Carpathia arrives at 4:10 a.m. It was 58 miles away when it received the distress call, and its captain drove it through ice fields in the dark at full speed, which was insane and brave, and the only reason any of you are alive. When they pull you over the side, you cannot feel your hands. A woman wraps a blanket around you and gives you something hot to drink, and you sit on the deck and you look at the flat black ocean where 1,500 people are, and you try to understand what happened. Thomas made it. You find him an hour later, wrapped in a blanket, shaking violently, saying nothing. Mikhail made it. He will live to be 74 years old in Minnesota, and he will never, once in his entire life, talk about that night. Padraig did not make it. His brother in Boston will read about it in the newspaper. His wife in Cork will give birth to a daughter in August and name her Bridget and never remarry. Of the 710 survivors pulled from the water by the Carpathia, exactly 76 are third-class passengers. You stare at the ocean. You are 24 years old. You are alive. You have a canvas bag, a photograph of your mother, and nothing else. America is still out there somewhere. You get up. 1,517 people died on April 15, 1912. Most of them were poor. Most of them were immigrants. Most of them were people who had saved everything they had for a ticket to a better life and never got there. The lifeboats could have held 1,178 people. They launched carrying an average of 60% capacity. The first lifeboat lowered had space for 65 people. It left with 28. The Titanic wasn't just a tragedy, it was a document, a record of exactly how much certain lives were worth when the water started rising. That record still stands. If you felt something watching this, share it. Not for the algorithm, for the 1,517 people who never got to tell their own story.